Good morning, Nick Collier here, and I kick myself, because I do this over and over again. I begin a project, especially a project for myself, and I think, it's a boring project. I'll just whip it out real quick, and I won't film it. And it turns out to be one of the more interesting projects, and that's pretty much what happened here. I'm going to kind of bring you in on how far I've gotten, and we're kind of at the tail end of this one, but hey. You'll see where we went with it, and it began. I don't know if you can see. Let's go here and let's come down just a little bit, and we're gonna come in, and you're gonna see down in that corner. There's a whole collection of wheels, geared wheels, all kinds of different kinds that I've gotten at garage sales and other different kinds of sales. Well, it turns out that, and I never knew, what am I going to do with them? I just had them kind of as a collection. And the other day, I looked at one of those wheels and I went, wow, this would be a great stand for, some kind of table or something. So I knocked off one, there was, kind of a boss sticking out on both sides where the axle went through, and I knocked off one of the bosses and I got it flat on the ground, and it turned out that this pipe that I just got, 2 or 3 weeks ago, is the exact right size. And you can see it fits perfect there. So, and there's of course a problem with pipe and cast iron welding it together, but I figured, I'll just throw a really good weld all the way around. And if it cracks and breaks, well, it cracks and breaks, but some of it'll hold. Sure enough, that's exactly what happened. And I thought, well, you know what? I think what we want to do here, let's spin around, and we're going to look at one of the tools I want to put on this table. This is an old Craftsman grinder. I've used it for years. It's solid as a rock. It doesn't give up. One side of it's got a drill bit grinder. It's got a little attachment that comes off it that rotates the drill bit around and grinds it on one side, and the other side just a rough sawn, a rough wheel. Let's go over to the other one, and I'll show you that. The second one is an old Baldor that I inherited from my buddy after he died. And it's a great old grinder, and I have 2 really coarse wheels on it that can just really cut into material. And I've used it many times for cutting tool bits and the like. And the third one, we're going to just kind of probably rotate around to it. Let's see if we can just rotate around to it. There it is, right there. And that is my latest purchase, which is this, fancified tool bit grinding program. And then if you've been following along, I went in and made extended this protractor so it would work better. And all 3 of those things are going to go on top of that post. We're going to go back over to the post right now. All right, and so I went to my local steel yard and picked up a piece of square 1/4-inch plate and brought that home and torched this out. Yes, interesting. It would have been cool to show it to you, but I didn't. So I went in and torched that out and drilled holes for all 3 of these grinders and set up, and I'm going to bring you down low here. Let's see if we can do that. Maybe I'll just do it by hand. And we set up an index head with a spring clip on it so that, and I'm going to wiggle a little bit here, so that the plate will index around and clip into the next clip and hold it solid. Then I have 3 holes in this that will index, so that I can put this entire thing into a corner and still have access to all 3 of my grinders. So that's pretty much where we're at. Now the problem is that, and what I want to do is I want to run the wires from each grinder down through the plate, down below, and tap them into something that's going to go over to a wall and plug in. Now, as I said, the problem is that you can't rotate this thing around and around and around, or else after a while the wires will get tangled up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come into one of these clips, and I'm going to put a stop right here and a stop over here, and so that the thing can rotate around, like what, 300 degrees, and not go any further, so you can never tangle the wires. So we'll be back, because that's the next step. Okay, for right now, we're going to make holes for the wires to go through, so a big enough hole that a plug can go into it. And we drilled looks like about a 3/8. So now I think I'll go to a 3/4. We're probably going to have to go to about an inch or an inch and a half before we get to the end here. Okay, so there's our stop, and we're just going to run a couple of beads around the side of that so that it lays in well. And ready? I don't think we're going to run into any problems with that breaking. Especially since it's going to probably hit that stop maybe 20 times in the entire life of this piece. So because it's an emergency stop, it goes beyond one side or the other, so no big deal. All right, well, we got that in place, and I think that pretty much is our last step, other than putting the grinders on and bolting those in place. We'll be right back. I've got to rag off all of the grease here because it's gotten dust on it, and put new fresh grease on. So I'll be right back. Okay, a little fresh grease on the surface here, just so we have a nice smooth rotation, and also so it doesn't rust over the ears. And let's see if we can center this. There it is. And I have a shoulder washer in there so that when this thing tightens down, it snugs down on it, but it still allows it to rotate some. And there's our lock. And here is our far direction one side, far direction the other side. And that's going to be just fine. Let's see here. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so let's just roll it over to the to where the grinders are, and see what we can do about getting the grinders on top of this thing. Okay, well, we got her done, and It's all set up to rotate. We'll just swing it around and catch the next grinder head. Now I just have to kind of set my grinder heads up so that they're in sequence with one another, and also I have to set up my little drill bit grinder setup here. But you know, that comes on another day. But for the moment, we are set and ready to go. Oh yeah, I still have to wire it up. I got a bunch of dead wires here. I mean, I can plug them in, but I'd much rather go to a little gang wire plug in and then run a single wire over to the wall. So yeah, this is Nick Collier. We completed another little mini project. You know, it took me 2 or 3 days. You know, just a little bit here, a little bit there, and then now for the rest of my life, this is going to be a really useful tool. So hey, subscribe. We have some fun here. We're building some things, and we get to play with all kinds of stuff. So check in with me. This is Nick Collier, over and out.